everybody. Welcome to Daybreak. I'm your host, Nicholas Sadowski. We have a fantastic show today, 2 amazing guests and a fun game. So let's get started. As you may know, back in Season 2, we had Riley Kravinger on talking about different shows you could watch during quarantine. And just it was actually a 45-minute long review episode just for TV shows. We talked about The Office, The Good Place, Parks and Rec, New Girl, Upload. I think there might be one more that I'm forgetting, but that was for the most part it. But recently, Netflix has uploaded the last season of The Good Place onto Netflix, which is awesome because I've watched the season already. It's absolutely amazing. When we did that episode, which I think it was May 24th, and when we did that episode, season 4 was not on Netflix, but it was on demand. So if you had the channels, you could watch it. But it was like the thing where it's like one episode and it was like 1 week apart. I think it came out on either Tuesdays, Wednesdays, or Thursdays. I'm not really sure. But on one of those days, a new episode of The Good Place would come out, and I was always super excited to watch it because it's really a great show. But now you can watch all of them at once on Netflix. But don't binge watch just yet because we have my first guest standing by. No, we don't. All right. So I'm going to talk for a little longer because my guests are not standing by. I apologize for this, but I am just checking to see. That's not important. Okay. All right. Well, this is the first time this has ever happened. This actually happened on Conan once. I'm going to keep my watching list up, but Conan had an episode once where Conan is just one guest per show. And I think it's 30 minutes, which was the old version of our show. Except we still had 2 guests, which was actually kind of annoying because each guest was like 10 or 15. Like one guest got more time than the other, which was kind of annoying because I didn't really understand how it worked, but I've worked all the kinks. But his guest canceled at the last minute, and they couldn't find someone else, so they put in his assistant, Sona Mosesian, who happens to be on the show a lot, so it worked. But I have no one. I'm the only staff member on my show, besides actually the Daybreak Board of Ideas featuring Riley Kravinger and gracemulrooney. But I have no one available right now. I did have an entire thing planned, but I can't do it if they don't show up. So, this is what I'm going to do. It is currently 10:03. I will have this show up and running until 10:10. If no one shows up, then I will log off the show. If someone in the audience would like to come on the show as someone who wasn't planned, but I can still have a conversation with, just put your name in the comments section, which I'm 95% sure is still open. If it's not, just put it in the questions feature. And I can bring you on the show, because this has never happened, and I'm trying to cope with all of this, because I've never had this happen before. So, yeah, I'll just talk until then. I like talking, so it'll be fine. So I'll just spit some fun facts about Daybreak or upcoming things. If you haven't if you haven't looked at it, we now have a Daybreak website. Yes, there's a website for Daybreak. It includes every single episode that's ever been done. Actually, every single video that's ever been uploaded to YouTube. Starting back at, of course, from the Season 3 commercial all the way till Season 5, Episode 3. So they're all on there. It includes all the guests that were ever on the show. Starting in everything is from Season 3, except actually the towns. We list the towns that we've gotten guests from, which include Dover, Massachusetts, Sherborn, Massachusetts, Portsmouth, New Hampshire, Cohoes, New York. Soon, next week, we're going to have Douglas, Massachusetts. And Norwell, Massachusetts, and Weymouth, Massachusetts. So there are 6 towns on there. And then the states would be New Hampshire, Massachusetts, New York. And I actually did a private episode in Rhode Island. But I list Rhode Island, but really we haven't done anything in Rhode Island for the public. Faith, hello. If you would like to come on the show, because I have no guests right now, and my guests have not logged on, and if you want to come on the show and sort of save the show and talk to me, just put your name in the comments if you want to. It would be a great help. But Yeah, I'll keep talking until something happens. So on the website it includes all that, and also on the website there's an upcoming event, so if there's something that's going to be releasing soon, then it'll be there. Grace and Faith, if any of you would like to... Hi, Grace. Yeah, actually, you are going to be helpful for this, because none of my guests are on right now. I have no guests. Would you like to come on the show and have a conversation and help? Because I don't have anyone. And this is Allie Ford. Hi, Allie Ford. Would anyone in the audience like to come on the show, have a conversation with me? Because I have no guests right now. I was going to have Maeve Ross and Layla Bailey, but none of them are available right now. I don't know why. But if anyone would like to come on the show to have a conversation with moi, please just put your name in the comments section. Okay, Grace says sure. So we'll have our first guest, Grace Mulrooney, in a couple, like a minute or so. Let me know when you're ready, and then I'll send you the request. I'll talk more about what's upcoming. I was going to say that, but I'll talk more about what's upcoming in my outro, because it's very important. And it's not very important, but it's very cool what we're going to be about to be doing. All right, so I'm going to request Grace. So, ladies and gentlemen, my first guest is a writer on a... Grace, you are currently unable to join. Well, I'll try it anyways. Let's try this. Let's see if this works. On the hit show The Watchers, we've had her on numerous times and had a fun time. Please welcome Grace Mulrooney.
Hi.
Hello. Thank you for being here.
Sure.
Seriously, you saved the show, so thank you. And you wanted to come on the show anyways, so.
Yeah, well, I wasn't expecting it. My dad and I were watching soccer, and then I joined your show just because that's what I do. I like to watch your show. And then you're like, I have no guests. Please join. So I'm like, sure. And I like grab my phone and run upstairs to my room.
Yeah, so this is good for you. So let's just have a regular conversation. We already talked about The Watchers numerous times, but you are basically doing everything on that show.
No. I mean,
no, not everything, but a numerous tasks. I'm saying numerous a lot, but you do a lot of things on that show. You write, direct, you do the cinematography, probably eventually do the choreography, and do a bunch of other things with it. So, and the music. And so,
I can't do the choreography. I can't dance. So there are other people who will do the choreography for our magical musical numbers that we don't have. Well,
the other co-director, writer is Ben Gaynor, and he's actually on right now. So I'm going to turn off the notifications because it's blocking your face. But let's have a conversation with watchers. So we had Suyesha I don't know how to really pronounce her last name correctly, but I'm just going to say Suyesha Athaluri on a couple episodes ago to talk about her role in The Watchers. Now, we had you on in season 3, episode 1. It was the first episode on YouTube, and we discussed what The Watchers was going to look like then, and it's changed from my perspective a little bit to now. So I want to discover what has changed from your discussion then to now. So one thing we talked about was that it was a crime sort of mystery, somewhat thriller, very serious show. Is it still very serious, or is there some jokes and some lightheartedness and things like that in the show now?
Well, you know the answer to that because you're a writer.
Well, yeah, but I'm...
But yeah, so we wanted to keep it, since it's like a crime show, and we didn't want like it to be very like gory and weird. Like most crime shows are just like very intense. So we wanted to keep it very like lighthearted and happy in a way that there are like multiple jokes and sarcastic things throughout the show. The two main characters in the group are siblings, and so they like bust each other's balls like all the time and like make jokes at each other and do all this fun stuff and really sarcastic. And they're the thing about them is they're like completely opposite personalities, and so that ties into the show a lot. So yeah, we wanted to keep it lighthearted and make some jokes here and there, but most of it's very like serious and there's stuff in it that is exciting.
Right. And with the two main characters, who I know their names, but I'm gonna ask you for them. What are their names? And you said they have very opposing personalities. What are their personalities?
So Charlotte, I play Charlotte. She's a sociopath. And basically, for anyone who doesn't know the definition of a sociopath, it means that she's unable to feel feelings and portray feelings to other people. Basically, she has no feelings. And so she treats a lot of people like crap and like doesn't care. And she's like super like edgy and off-putting. I guess that's the only way to say it. And then her brother is basically like the complete opposite of that, by meaning like he's very emotionally adapts to situations, like wants to help everybody and like tries really hard to make everybody happy. And his name is Edgar, and he's played by Ben, who you mentioned earlier. So yeah, they're complete opposites, and I think it's kind of funny because it works quite well with the thing that like they always do sarcastic things to each other in the group and like make these jokes, and they're the main joke makers of the group because they just like basically are like ripping on each other a lot, but in like a fun sibling way.
Yeah, like me and my brother do, and you and your sister do all the time. I'll probably do it later. But regarding, so it's not just the two main characters, not just Charlotte and Edgar. So what are the other characters, if you can list all of them, and how do they play into the sibling, not rivalry, but relationship and the actual show itself?
So there's Soren, who's played by Victor Senior, and he's like a forensic scientist in training. So he likes science a lot, and he likes figuring out crime scenes. And then there's also Neil, who's another girl in the group played by Emmeline Morgans. And she's very like, she comes across as like very sweet and put together, but she's like a very good liar. So she's really good at getting like the group out of tough situations or lying to the police to get them into somewhere. And then there's also Rose, who's a detective in training in the police station. And basically she's the one who like is legally allowed to do stuff because she's actually a police member, while these kids are like crazy and like just going into crime scenes everywhere. So she usually goes with them just to like make sure like they don't like get into really bad trouble with the law. And she's like very smart, and she's like, she graduated college at like 13, so she's like way ahead of her time.
Oh, incredibly smart.
Yeah.
Graduated college at 13. Wow, that would have been nice. I wouldn't have to go. I'm actually graduating earlier than most people at 17, which is my favorite number apparently. So, but with the actual show itself, is there any themes that carry over in just an episode, or are there themes that carry over multiple episodes throughout the season?
I think it's funny you're asking me this because you know the answer.
Well, yeah. The reason why I'm asking is because if I know a lot of stuff I ask my not followers, guests about, because it's a show, and even though I know them, they're the guests. Like for example, with Hunter Richards and a bunch of other people, Riley Crowther, I know a lot of the stuff, especially with the TV review. But it's to how the guests present their thing to the viewers. So yeah. Anyways.
It was the themes. Yeah, there are multiple themes. I can't really tell anyone that because I don't really want to spoil it.
Right.
But the main theme is that there's a villain, because there has to be a villain, or else it's just a really boring show about crazy kids running around doing weird things.
Well, actually, there's Dwight Schrute running around doing weird things.
Yeah. But yeah, there is an overarching villain in the entire series. He's called the Silhouette. And he's called that because he is a person who appears on television, like on screens, like electronic screens, as a silhouette to keep his identity secret because, you know, he's doing crimes and like doesn't want to be caught by the police. And so he is really crazy because he likes games and like puzzles and watching people solve puzzles. So he creates crimes for this group to solve. And like most of the crimes that the show is about is because he created it for some specific reason. And that's like really all I can say because I don't really want to give it away.
Right.
But yeah, there's a villain and they try and stop him, and yeah.
Well, that sounds it sounds like a successful, because it wouldn't be used so much if it wasn't successful. So, um, you're very well set up there. So, is there anything else that has to do with the Watchers? Does it tie into anything in the real world? Does it bring in ideas or things that come in outside the show, just from actual like real life in the United States, real life in other countries, things like that? Does anything come in to the show from that perspective?
Well, it's set in a fictional town, so it's not set in a real town because we don't want to get copyrighted. So
Use the town name, but yeah.
So it's set in a fictional town. I don't really know the name of it because we don't really mention the name of the town a lot, but it's some weird name.
A language for something.
Some weird name town is where the show is set in, and we haven't really discussed anything like coming into like the United States or anything like that coming into the show, because I don't really know. It's never really been like a topic that we've brought up. The show is called The Watchers, which is the name of the group of kids, but there's also the Watcher, who's like a supernatural being, who's like above everybody else, and he basically watches everybody in like Santa, but like a less creepy way. So he's like always watching this group. The joke in the show, or like not really the joke, but the reason why it's called The Watchers is, one, because that's the name of the group, but also because like everyone's always watching something. So the Silhouette's watching the Watchers watching Earth, the Watchers are watching the crimes being unfolded. So everyone always is watching another thing.
The Watchers who's watching the Silhouette who's watching the Watchers.
Yeah, that should be like a tongue twister that they teach kids in school. Yeah, so the answer to your question is no, there's no like United States or government things coming in. I know you like that stuff, but there is stuff like supernatural, which is really cool.
Yeah, well, it sounds like a really cool idea for a show. This is very
You're in it, so I don't really.
Oh, like I'm praising myself indirectly. But yeah, it is actually. While I'm working on this show, I'm finding out more and more. And it is a really cool idea for a show.
I think that you're doing a great job with this, because like I was not being planned to come here at all.
Me neither.
Yeah, no. So I don't know what happened, if like someone got sick or whatever. But I think that everyone should just applaud Nick, because he plans out his day breaks like so like with intent, and just like such hard work goes into the shows that he makes everyone watch. Like he called me and be like, oh my god, I have so much stuff I need to do, like ask these questions, do this and do that, and he like is improvising all these questions, doing a great job asking me this. So good job, Nick. You're doing great.
Thank you so much, Grace. That's very kind, and a lot of work does go into this, and I have to thank you for a large part of it, because you are on our board of ideas here. You are credited actually at the end of all the YouTube episodes. You come down as one of the credits.
I don't really contribute that much. It's mainly you and Riley. I'm just sitting over here. I'm literally in my pajamas, so
Well, yeah. Well, I'm not wearing a tie this time, so. But
oh wow.
you give me inspiration, and you were of course the one who gave me the confidence to do this in the first place. So I have to give you a lot of credit for that. It is true. No, I'm not joking. It's absolutely true. But it is 10:20. Most of it actually probably be speaking at the beginning. But we do have a game that I was going to play with our last guest, but since you're the only guest who has so far offered, would you like to play a game with me?
I would love to play a game with you. I'm not doing anything else, so.
Awesome. So this game is called If Then. Again, I'm blocking it again, but whatever. It's a game. It's like, I'm not very creative with opening screens, but we're just going to have to go with it. It's a game, it's basically like an extension of Would You Rather. So in Would You Rather, you usually have like, would you rather earn $1 million now or earn whatever then? And
hence the name.
Right. But this is like, if you got $1 million, then what would you do with that? Or if you we're able to go anywhere in the world, then we're so
That's
it's kind
cool.
of yeah, I'm a genius. So it's a fun way of doing it. So I have a few not really statements, sort of like it's like I coined the term questionized statements. It's a statement, but it's sort of like a question. So again, if you were to earn $1 million, or if you just had $1 million, what would you do with it?
I would probably donate a lot of it to charity, or like a cause that's like very important to me. Probably like climate, because like I like the environment and the environment's like very important to me. But you know, like everyone messes up. Like I don't turn out my lights, so people like just turn out lights. I also need to take that and like don't use so much energy. So probably the environment, and then I don't really know, because that's not really like something that's gonna happen. So
You don't know that. You don't know that. You could invent something that no one's ever thought of before, and then
I have thought of something that I could invent, which is interesting. Because my family, we watch Shark Tank a lot because we find it hysterically funny. It's so funny, like to watch like these sharks like being like, no, that's wrong, this sucks. Anyways, so it's basically like I dye my hair, so like it's with a conditioner kind of thing, that it's not like actual hair dye, and so it's like kind of a hair mask. I don't know if you use hair mask, probably not, but basically like it's like very like thick and like chunky, and so like it takes a lot of effort like washing it out. It takes a lot like effort to wash it out. It takes a long time to wash it out. And then once it's washed out, there's like still like little particles of the mask in your hair and like on your scalp. So my idea was to invent like gloves that are like actually like towels, but like they're really comfortable. So you can run your fingers through your hair to get out the particles, and like also dry your hair. And then I like, some women or men like to like style their hair like heatless curls, or like put it in like, I don't know, like something. And so like you can use the gloves to help dry your hair while you're styling them. So yeah, that was my $1 million idea.
Yes, and you're gonna earn billions of dollars if I'm so. That idea is absolutely fantastic, and you should send it to Shark Tank.
Well, I need to do like a prototype, and like I'm really lazy to do that right now, and so I'm not doing it, but maybe later. We'll see.
We'll see. I'll be your first customer if you do ever put it out.
Oh, yes.
I probably won't use it, but I will buy it.
Really? No, you should use it, because
my hair is majestic as it is.
I was not saying that it isn't.
All right. If you could go anywhere in the world, then where would you go?
I don't know, cause like this is like, cause I wouldn't go anywhere in the world. I would probably say like a tropical island of some sort, cause I really love the Sorry.
Wait, you froze, and the face that you were making while you froze was the most hilarious thing I've ever seen.
Great. Now everyone's gonna laugh at me. That's okay. I really don't care. I'd probably go to a tropical place, or like a tropical island, maybe like the Caribbean or Bora Bora or something like that. But I also really love it here. Like New England, like is my favorite place in the entire world. So
awesome. Well, the weather now is nice. Over the summer it was killing me, but yeah.
Oh God, it was so hot.
It was so hot. So this is actually, I like this question because I like space. If you could go visit, live, whatever, on any planet or anything in the solar system without need for health concerns, without like gravity effects or anything, you go anywhere you wanted in the universe, where would you go?
I don't really care about space, to be honest. I don't find it that interesting. Can I like change the question a little bit? Is that okay?
Sure. Yeah, go right ahead.
So I would, if I had like any power or like one chance to do something, I'd go back in time because I'm a huge history buff, you know that. So I'd probably like go back and like see accounts that were like rumored and weren't actually like considered as fact and see what actually happened, and then take that and actually put down like what actually happened, and then like live my life throughout the time periods of like history, and that would like just be the best life ever.
Now I have a question for that. Would you dress in time appropriate clothing?
I probably would. I don't think I'm gonna show up with like a Star Wars t-shirt on in like 1776 and be like, what's up, I'm now here, and then everyone's like, wow, she's crazy, and will throw me in a mental institution. So I would probably dress up like that time period to avoid being caught as a time traveler.
How would you get back?
Magic.
Magic. All right.
Or I totally live in like that time period and try and make it a better place, and like advance technology even more than it already has been advanced till now. So we like maybe we'll have flying cars if I change the past till in 2020. Who knows?
The thing about that is if you change one thing of the past. Now I'm just getting this from.
I know the butterfly effect. It's okay.
Yeah.
It's fine. It'll work out.
All right. If I had that power, actually, I would go back to 17. I can't remember when he got. But I'd go watch the inauguration of George Washington. I'd probably go see somewhere near the Revolutionary War. I don't know. Probably.
I do love the Revolutionary War. It's very, very interesting to me. But there were 3 revolutions going on at that time, which is a lot of people don't talk about. Which I think we should talk about more. So.
Yeah. Well, we sort of sparked the revolutions across the world and sort of showed that democracy can be achieved. And then France went up, and then Haiti. And
yeah,
then,
you know Haiti. That's good.
And then Latin America went up, and South America, and then the entire world exploded. So, for the best, actually. But we are all out of time for this interview, or end game. But I'd like to thank you for coming on and playing this game for the first time.
Am I leaving now?
Well, yeah, because I have to see if someone else wants to come on because it's been 25 minutes.
Oh, cool. Okay, if no one else comes on, I'll come back on.
I mean, this is fun.
Yeah, I mean, it's casual. I mean, you're not wearing a tie. I'm wearing pajamas. It's a huge step.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna leave it like this. I think I'm gonna not wear a tie anymore.
Yeah, it looks good.
It freaking strangles me. I can't breathe.
I know you're always like this in the middle of the show, and you're.
It looks nice, but I'm like, I can't deal with this. But yeah.
What are you gonna say?
Right.
We're so awkward.
Actually, I'll go over this later in the episode. But yeah, if no one else volunteers to come on, I'll bring you back on. So stay tuned, stay on the show. But,
cool. Before I go, I just want to let Nick's viewers know and that they should congratulate him for an amazing job he's doing salvaging this episode. Because I don't know, people got sick, whatever. It happens. And then he's just like improvising this entire thing. And if you know Nick is extremely organized. So, I mean, it's great. And you're not wearing a tie. Like, Nick sacrifices comfort for fashion so many times. He wore a suit in Washington, D.C. when it was 97 degrees. So that tells you all you need to know about him. And you're doing an amazing job, Nick. So awesome job. Okay. All right. I will let my position be taken by another amazing guest. So, great. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for
saving us. Okay. Bye.
Bye. All right, so that was my wonderful interview with Grace Mulrooney. We were not planning to have her on. We're actually planning to have her on probably this season after this one. But great thanks to her. And we actually have our planned first guest on the show currently. Very happy to see that. She is the president of student government at our school in our grade. Please welcome to Daybreak, Maeve Ross. Hopefully. Maybe. I'll wait for that to register. There we go.
Hi, Nick.
Maeve, hello.
I'm so sorry. I feel horrible.
It's perfectly fine.
I woke up this morning and I have a brand new puppy.
Oh.
So I woke up and both my parents were gone. My sister was gone. I got left a note and was like, "Can you watch the dog?" And I was like, "I can't do this. I have to go on live." But oh my gosh, he was so bad this morning. I'm sorry. Like, I should have texted you earlier. I feel so bad.
Totally fine.
But it's good you got to fill in. That is really good.
Yes.
Okay. I'm all yours.
I'm glad that you're here.
Me too. I'm excited.
So, as I stated in the intro, you were part of student government. Now, I'm not sure which one. We have multiple at the school. We have one per grade and then one like big one for the school. And I know that you were president for the freshmen. Are you also now president for the sophomore, or are you like, how does that work?
Okay, so you have a president for each grade. So like last year I was the 2023, I guess you could say. So I'm still, elections are Friday. So hopefully I get reelected.
Yes.
But last year was, so like you stick with your class if you keep getting reelected.
Oh, okay.
But then there's an overarching student government board that's like basically runs student government with a teacher. I don't know if you know her, Miss Plasman. She's a math teacher. But they run student government, and then you still have a senior student government board that runs the grade, and then it keeps going down. So there's a freshman class, sophomore, junior, senior, but it's really like you stick with your class. Like I could never be the president of the freshmen or of juniors, whatever.
Well, hopefully you do get reelected on Friday. I'm voting for you.
Thank you.
So we've had multiple guests on talk about the return to school policy. And I think we've talked about Norwell's return to school policy with Bianca Anderson. I can't remember if it was last week or the week before that. But did student government have a role in deciding what was going to happen or giving advice as to what will happen in that sort of planning phase?
So actually, no, which is very, like, I understand that because it's more of like administration. They can't tell us before the other kids, if that makes sense.
Right.
But you think something would happen with like the overarching student government, like all the seniors, but nothing happened. We still really don't really know how student government's going to work.
Right.
We kind of got an email and it was like, here's the form, we're going to try and have student government. We had a meeting, but we haven't had, like, we weren't involved with any of like the return policies or anything like that.
If you were involved in the return policies, did you have any suggestions you wanted to give or anything? Input?
I mean, I feel like if we were involved with it, it would be like yes or no, hybrid, or all remote or something like that. It wouldn't be about like the details.
Okay.
Because I feel like that would be like too much for the kids to know at the time, if that makes sense. But I don't know. I feel like they're trying to do the best job they can. I think one thing would be like try and make sense or like tell the kids why you can like take your mask off at lunch 6 feet apart, but not in the rooms.
Actually, that was my question. Why? Because the desks are already 6 feet apart. I don't know. And the room cycles air like 12 times an hour.
Mm-hmm.
I have to wear my mask and if we're already far apart.
Yeah, I don't understand. Like, I get it if they're like, you can wear your mask, you have to wear it in lunch, you need to go outside to eat. I get that. But if you're going to take off your mask in one area, why are you going to not do it in the other? It doesn't make sense.
Right.
But,
I don't understand. I could probably ask the guys.
yeah.
I will say those mask breaks are very helpful though.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I really like them. And some teachers like let you stay out longer. They kind of lose track of time. So they're like, okay, it's been like 20 minutes, let's go back inside.
Yeah. Well, some teachers have been like doing it not during their time. So like mask breaks are scheduled for periods 2 and 4, but some teachers would just give it in their class break. Weren't that? And I'm like, oh, this is awesome.
Yeah, that's never. Well, I went outside for long block. I did like discussion questions out there. That was really fun. And it's like fun when it's nice out, but when it's cold, we're gonna have to go in like the gym.
Right. Well, we had one day where, and this was really unfortunate for me. I don't remember what day it was, but all my periods did a mask break. So I went to a mask break every single period, it was nice in theory, but it was freezing. So every single period, I had to stand out there for 15 minutes, just like, I need to go back inside.
Yeah. I purposely brought a jacket all of the days. I was like, yeah, no, it's gonna be really cold in the morning too.
Yeah.
Like walking in, and then I didn't even think about the mask breaks, but it worked out with that too.
How are you feeling? Like, do you have a positive opinion or a negative opinion of this new system of schooling?
I mean, the first week was a little rocky. It was just very confusing. We didn't get a lot of guidance. Obviously, the first day of school isn't a lot of fun. You're just kind of doing like syllabuses and stuff. But I think since then it's been pretty positive. I mean, at least we're back in school.
Right.
I'm not sure about you, but I wanted to go back.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah, I just wanted to see. I want to see people, like all this stuff. But I don't know. I think it's been good, and I think as we get into school year and like as we get to know our teachers more and stuff like that, we'll be doing more stuff. We'll be better at all this stuff with them. Yeah.
I did a story 2 days ago, 1 day ago, and it was like, I'm bored, asking me questions. And someone asked me, how is remote working for you? And I'm like, working well so far. We haven't really experienced what actual school is like with it, because they've just been giving us like basic things.
Yeah.
Projects and like multi-day things.
Yeah, we like just started. I'd say like, when was I remote? Friday? So I'd say like Wednesday was when I started, really. Well, it's a lot of review from last year, but
yeah. Especially with algebra, because we just got a break from it last year.
Yeah.
And you're in my cohort, and so on Wednesday, was it last week or the week before? I don't know. The first day of school, we were doing the orientation. Then on Thursday, went in person. And the thing I didn't like about that was because we had the orientation, which I'm fine with, but then we got the orientation in school the next day from all this teachers, just the same information.
Yeah.
Like, we just got to repeat it. I'm like, well, I've been already sitting here for 6 hours, and I already know this stuff.
Yeah. I think it was just like they didn't really talk about what was supposed to be said, what was said at the orientation. I don't think a lot of teachers knew.
Well, because also a lot of teachers who had their kids on Wednesday in person, they gave them the orientation, so they thought they'd have to do the same thing, because that's what
Yeah.
And I had Daybreak sort of goes through guest phases where I bring in people who sort of have the same topic over multiple episodes. And so the recent phase of Daybreak was just going back to school. I've gone through 3 episodes already, where it's just going back to school, including this one. And last week I had TJ Bonica from Westford Public Schools, and I'm so sorry I'm blanking on the name, from another school system. And we sort of saw the effectiveness of each system and how different schools are doing it. Like Westford was doing 1 week completely on, then 1 week completely off, and it alternates between cohorts. And I actually asked this to Bianca, it was Bianca Anderson. I actually asked this to Bianca Anderson and TJ Bonica, if you could change one thing about your system to make it better for you or just the entire greater group of people, what would it be?
I don't know. I feel like they need to have like a distinct line between what's remote work and what's homework.
Yes.
That's getting confusing. And a lot of teachers are like, oh, I'm not giving homework, but then you see something in school with you and you're like, what is this? Something like that. It's just very, I think they need to like go over that, and I think they're still confused too.
Yeah.
Because they're like, I don't know if I should give homework if you're remote the next day. Like, it doesn't really make sense.
Right.
But about like the actual policy, like going back, I don't know. I feel like we haven't had a real week. We had a half day Wednesday. That was weird.
Yeah.
Then we had the week before, obviously didn't really do like anything.
Right.
I don't know. I think if I were to go back, I wouldn't do a week on, week off. I feel like that would be a whole, like, going back to school would be a big thing, if that makes sense. Like, you're getting up, like, whatever, the whole 9 yards of that. But I think I'd do it this way, like, every other day.
Right.
Because, I mean, it gets you more in, like, used to the schedule and, like, into, what's it called? The schedule.
Yeah, and the schedule's been cut down. Just to 5 classes a day.
That's confusing.
Yeah. It's like I know in Norwell you didn't have this. When I went to Dover Sherborn, we had to drop classes every day. It was actually like the Norwell schedule, but for the middle school, because they wanted to prepare us for the high school. And so I got used to the schedule pretty quickly at Norwell. But then this new, you drop 2 classes a day, it really confused
Yeah.
me. What classes
Mm-hmm.
do I have? And I didn't understand it. And they had that weird section, like the last 3 columns at the end of the schedule I didn't understand because they were just weirdly set out.
Oh yeah, those were just like put in there in case one was like if we have all remote, one was if we have a half day, and then the other was like an orientation thing.
It was very confusing.
I know. The thing that confused me was the AABBCCDD.
Right.
I didn't realize that was a thing.
Oh.
So on Friday, our remote day, I thought I was doing the wrong, like after I submitted everything, this was on Saturday, I figured that we were doing that. I thought I did all the wrong work for all the wrong classes, like in different times. But turns out that Wednesday counted as an A day.
Right.
So it was just B again.
Yeah.
So luckily,
hopefully your teachers understood that. Cause
yeah. She was like, "You did that?" I was like, "Yeah, but it was fine. It worked out. It's okay."
Yeah. I would say the community. While we have had a lot of like Zoom meetings between the administration and the students, it's still been very confusing.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't really clear. Although some other school districts just didn't have them at all. They just went, "This is the thing. Go with it as you please." And we're like, well, yeah. So I feel as though Norwell is doing okay in terms of the school going back to system. I know Hingham has a little bit of a better system, but we're doing fairly okay, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Now, in our last couple of minutes, do you do any after school clubs or activities or anything?
Yes. So I actually soccer, like sports are happening.
Yes.
So I just had my first soccer tryout on Friday. That went well. That was really, really easy compared to other years. They're normally very like hard, like physically, like conditioning and running, all that stuff. But since it was only an hour and a half, like she needs to see more soccer because there's only 2 teams. She's cutting, like there's no third team.
Oh.
And there's 63 girls trying out. So she has to cut like 17 to 20 people.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And that's like the first year she's had to cut anyone. So she really needs to see more soccer. But anyways, that was pretty good. I obviously do student government.
Yes.
I do the volunteer corps.
That's good.
What am I forgetting? Oh, my friends and I were going to do not stats. What is it? I think it might be, but because my sister then her brother was in it. But then we like walked in the class and it was all upperclassmen freshman year. So we're like, we're leaving. So we just left because it was like the first week of school. We were like little freshmen, didn't know what we were doing. So we left. I might end up doing that this year. I don't know. I still get the emails from it. So I don't know if I'm still in it. But yeah, basically, I think I'm not missing anything. I don't know.
Well, you have a very full schedule and a very full day of activities and government and things.
Mm-hmm.
And we actually have one question from our audience that I think we can get to from Grace Mulrooney, our previous guest. What is your favorite part of school this year?
I don't know. I think it would just be like trying to see some faces I haven't seen in so long. Like not even my friends. I feel like going back to school and you see people you know or you're friendly with them or like your school friends, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like you talk to a lot in school. I feel like seeing them and like having conversations with them, like it's getting more normal and like you feel like you're back. Yeah. Like it was last year or something like that. But I also think that the teachers have been more understanding this year.
Yes.
And they also don't know what they're doing that much. So I think like they're kind of just like, it's okay. Like if you don't know what you're doing, like we don't really know either.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think they really are trying to be understanding at least.
Yeah.
So that's really good too.
Yeah. This has been the most interesting experience of schooling of my life.
Mm-hmm.
But also the best years of schooling of my life. I have had not great teachers in the past, and I haven't really liked my schools that I've been to. I've liked every single teacher I've ever had at this school. I've liked almost every experience I've had at this school.
Oh, wow, that's awesome.
Yeah, it's been absolutely amazing, and I'm really happy that it's gone well. So Norwell is always going to like be a great place for me, and I love it here. So
That's awesome.
Yeah, but I like it. Unfortunately, it is 10:45. Thank you actually for actually coming on the show. I was actually really excited to talk to you. And I completely understand the dog thing. I have a dog too. When we first got my dog, it was very hectic, but I'm really grateful that you're able to come on the show eventually. So thank you.
Okay, well, thank you so much for having me, Nick. It's been my pleasure. I'll see you in school on, when are we going?
Monday.
You're going tomorrow? Oh my gosh, that's so weird. All right, well, I'll see you tomorrow. Thank you so much for having me.
All right.
I'm so sorry about earlier.
It's perfectly fine.
Bye, have a good day.
Bye, you too. All right, so that was my interview with Maeve Ross, the president of student government for the sophomores. Hopefully she gets reelected this year. I will definitely be voting for her. But yeah, so that is our entire show today. Big thank you to Grace Mulrooney for stepping in there at the beginning, being a great help to us. And we did have another guest planned. I'm not sure if she's on right now. I'm going to check to see if she's actually on. She isn't. So I'm probably going to reschedule Layla Bailey for another interview because we actually had a really interesting topic to talk about, and unfortunately I think she might have overslept. It's actually happened before, so it's perfectly fine. This is super early in the morning, so I completely understand. So, but I'd like to thank Maeve Ross and Grace Mulrooney and Layla Bailey for agreeing to this. And I was saying at the beginning of this episode, we have an upcoming event of sorts, and it's called Daybreak Stories. Daybreak Stories is going to be a new series that I'm going to be doing. It's not going to be a live. It's going to sort of be a recording. I'll probably do it on a private account, so people who are following me on that account will be able to see it live, but most people won't. It'll be uploaded to YouTube in a separate little playlist folder. I can link it to. I can actually upload it to my Instagram account here, but I probably won't because I upload a lot of things to my Instagram account from Daybreak. So I'll be doing a new thing called Daybreak Stories. Basically what it is me telling stories about interesting things that happen on Daybreak. An example, this will be one of them. This will be on this Daybreak Stories. I did not expect this to happen. I actually thought this was going to be a bad day. I slept in too much. I woke up at like an hour before the show and I'm like, oh crap. And you know, the lights weren't working. My iPad was upstairs. I had a bunch of things going wrong. So, but in all, the show has come together. I think this has been a really good episode. And Grace mentioned that I was coming up with the questions off the cuff, and I wasn't preparing them. And that's absolutely true. I did not know she was coming on. I did not prepare any questions. This sheet was all the questions for both guests I was planning. Now, Maeve Ross had one question I planned for Maeve Ross. The question was, what was student government's role in the new system? I had one question. And the reason why it is because I remember in season 2, I think it might have been the finale, I'm not sure, but I'm pretty sure it was the finale. We had TJ Bonica on, and I had planned questions for him, and he was talking about theater, and I was going to ask him what his roles were in theater, because that's what I thought he did. I thought he was performing in theater. He didn't, and so all my questions were absolutely worthless. I couldn't use anything, so I had to come up with all my questions just off the top of my head. And it turned out to be a really good interview because it's more of a conversation rather than just a interrogation interview. So what I wanted to do here was sort of not reinvent that, but redo it in a way that is more conversational than it was like direct interrogation. Which is why I've never looked at this question sheet while I was talking to Maeve. Everything was off the top of my head. Same thing with Grace Mulrooney. And I thought it went over really well. I thought the topics were good. I thought the interview was good, and I thought that the conversation was good. So I'll definitely be doing that again sometime. I won't be preparing 50,000 questions and being with a light over the middle of a table and me just asking questions very intensively. So yeah, I thank everyone that's come on the show. If Then is a new game we just did. So if you like that game, please do tell me because I think it went over really well. Daybreak Stories will be probably releasing on Wednesdays. Probably Wednesdays late in the day on YouTube. I'll alternate Sunday, Wednesday, Sunday, Wednesday. So there'll be an episode on Sunday, and then there'll be an episode of Daybreak Stories on Wednesday, and they'll alternate. So yeah, if you want to catch Daybreak Stories, let's look for it on Wednesdays. And if you haven't subscribed to the YouTube channel, please do. It's a big help. It helps put out our videos everywhere, and it helps let people see what we're doing here. And it's really helpful. And Daybreak Stories will be on there too. So it's gonna be some comedy because it's sort of funny stories, but lightheartedness. And I won't be wearing a suit. I'll be wearing normal clothes. So yeah, but I'd like to thank everyone who's come on the show today. Thank you again to Grace Mulrooney, who sort of saved us here. And thank you to Maeve Ross, who finally was able to come on the show. So, yeah, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time at Daybreak. Bye, everybody.